Hello, hello. This is Darla here. Did you know that hearing is healing? Let's talk about this today because one of the reasons that entrepreneurs make their businesses too heavy, too much work, too heady, right? Get too in their head, and way too stressful is because they're not really understanding some really simple principles to promote healing and transformation for their clients. Now, as you may know, I teach how to create transformation for individual clients and groups of clients through a process that I call the sourced experience. And I've been coaching retreat leaders for 6 years now and entrepreneurs in general for 10 years. And in working with retreat leaders over time, I watch for patterns. It's part of what I do. And I notice that most retreat leaders, they get too caught up in their head and they're too obsessed with their content and their location. And they're less focused on their clients and the healing and transformation that can happen. And this isn't like by intention. They care very much about the healing and transformation that can happen, but it's very easy to get caught up in our heads. And also it like gives us something to do. It's a focused area, right? How do I create my content? Do I create PowerPoint slides? Do I write bullets? Do I make a workbook? And these things can get us really thinking very hard about what we're going to teach, what knowledge can we impart. And for many of us, that's a comfort zone, right? If I'm in my head and I'm giving knowledge, I'm going to look smart, people will be impressed, and that'll make me feel good, right? Like I look really good in this process. But what a lot of the clients I work with who are magical, intuitive entrepreneurs who actually do their best work when they have less content and they're not so in their head worried about the information, is planning out this content can feel hard and they can get stuck. And because they're thinking about it in ways that don't serve them and don't serve the client, right? Thinking about it in a way that's really more complicated than it needs to be. So I want to circle back to this idea that hearing is healing. And in particular, in the sourced experience, there's a step where we receive truth and we receive validation for that truth. And this validation is extremely healing. It's where we can really allow ourselves to let go of old patterns and step into transformation. And so let's just say whether you're hosting a retreat or imagine you're doing a class, you're leading a webinar. And I want to share about something that I witnessed recently. I was on a virtual event and someone came in and did a talk about mindset for entrepreneurs, how to be your best self and show up really powerfully and handle whatever comes your way kind of thing. And one of the things that this person did, she did an amazing job. I was super impressed. I loved it. And everybody in the group loved it. Like, I think it was their favorite part of the whole event. And what she did is she spelled out really specific ways that, we'll call them mindset blocks for lack of a better word, would show up in an entrepreneur's life. And she had a couple of categories of these and had people just listen and then type in the chat on Zoom, a particular letter if you resonated with that thing. And so, people are typing just a single letter in the chat that relates to this insight that she's sharing. And so then she's watching the chat, right? And she's saying, I see you. I see you. I hear you. I see you. I hear you. You guys, just those simple words, I see you, I hear you, are so powerful. And so many people are, because they're not sourced, because they're not trusting their magic, they're putting so much content in the space and trying to teach these fancy things when really creating an opportunity for someone to be heard, right? Because you are giving them that chance, whether it is letting them unmute and share and you hear them, or you're speaking what you know is their truth and they're just typing it in the chat, right? Hearing is healing. Hearing is healing. And I see it all the time on retreat. When we see a truth that's maybe been hidden from our view, like, whoa, I am doing that, or I do have that going on, and we are validated for it, we're heard and received, it dissipates, right? And we have a whole new space from which to create. What gets in our way of doing this? So obviously, overthinking things, planning too much content, that type of thing gets in the way. But what really gets in the way is whatever our default energy is that is making us think we have something to prove. And this shows up in lots of ways. You can scroll in this YouTube channel to find my teaching on the cycle of proving. It's whatever gets in the way, whatever makes us think we have something to prove. My dog really agrees with this. That is the thing that's having you make it more complicated. It's just that simple. And this is why we got to do this work to become sourced, where we can tune in and trust our intuition and let go of those old energies, those thoughts. I'm thinking about the dog barking. Those thoughts and patterns that get in the way of you being tuned in and connected to your truth. And so you're wanting to prove by having all this content. And the other thing that happens is when we want to prove and we want to, sound good, we think it has to be harder than it does. It can't be as simple as just hearing someone, right? And then the third piece is when we haven't cleared our own old default energies from our system, it can be hard to hear people where they are. And especially if they've got something going on that you also have going on that you haven't cleared, you won't be able to hear and receive them. Or if they have something going on that someone in your life has going on, or somewhere you've learned to judge this thing and you haven't healed that, you won't be able to hear and receive them, which is why we got to do this journey to become sourced ourselves so we can hold this space to hear and heal with ease. Like, it doesn't have to be so complicated. The complication is just the smokescreen to keep us from having to actually connect and hear at a deep level what is happening on the other end. I hope this is helpful. Please leave a comment in the chat, in the comments below. Let me know, what are you taking away? Is there a nugget here that really spoke to you today? And commit to yourself to doing the work of becoming sourced. This is Darla Ledoux of Sourced and author of Sourced Experience, signing off. Bye, everyone.